Yo, General, what is the youngest girl you would sleep with?
Well, that's a good question. Well, it depends what my python wants. I can't control the python. The python does what it wants, and it's a maternal animal instinct.
General G is somebody who you will probably remember as being a little bit weird, but mainly harmless. A TikToker who rose to fame doing collabs with people like HS Tiki and nowadays a plethora of young OF models. I would probably describe him as somewhat of a lol cow. When I first saw him and when I did a video on him, I genuinely believed he was kind of a bit of a wholesome, just slightly lost dude. But the more and more TikToks I've been seeing of him, the more and more I'm getting slightly concerned. And being somebody who talks about weird age gaps and kind of inappropriate behavior, I feel it's my time to shine when it comes to the General. So welcome, subscribe, or don't. Doesn't really matter, but either way, buckle in because we're about to look at another weirdo. You may remember Grace from the videos I did about Paul Breach. She's the girl who basically did collaborations with Paul Breach as Paul was meant to be her photographer, and I called Paul Breach out saying that behaviour is really seedy and inappropriate for a 40-year-old man to be being an OF creator's photographer. And afterwards, Grace came forward saying that Paul had been inappropriate with her and made inappropriate advances, and many people were saying that this was a planned and calculated decision of Grace's to sell her OF, and maybe that is the case. Maybe Grace knew what she was doing all along because she is trying to sell her OF, and the best way to do that is to collaborate with people that get a lot of traction, even if it's bad traction. All attention is apparently good attention when it comes to social media. I actually did defend Grace because I still firmly do believe that regardless of whether she's deciding to collaborate with Paul Breach and deciding to collaborate with the General, I still think that it's down to the individual man in this situation who is significantly older to be kind of reflecting upon their moral compass and thinking, yeah, is this something that I should be doing? And I fear that there is none of that goes on online. I fear that men that are collaborating with these OF creators are really genuinely not bothered about how it looks at all. I mean, you can't do. Let's just take a look at some of General's TikToks that he's been doing recently.
That is big enough for both of us, so the python's going to get nourished in there tonight. So, look at this room. Wow. King-size bed, TV, beautiful view with the standard cars. Aberdeen is active.
I mean, straight away we know that they're sharing a hotel room together, so we unfortunately can really paint a really clear image of what both of them are probably up to. And, you know, that may be against your will and that may be against everything that you've ever wanted to know about. And I'm sorry, I hate to have brought this to your attention because I too am suffering severe brain rot after watching General G's TikToks. I will start off with my main point, which is the General is somebody who genuinely, I think, believes he is quite, I want to say untouchable, even though that sounds kind of cringe. But when he was doing content with like HS Tiki before, I guess it was really cringe and really drama based, but it wasn't just all about women and OF models and sexual relationships. This content now is literally him posting with different women, and it just so happens that Grace is the person that he's posting with now. And what I really don't like about that is that Grace had this whole situation with Paul that people were arguing against, saying, hey, you decided to do OF content with him, and people kept saying to me, like, Katie, she's like 20, 21, she can do whatever she wants. And like, I think when a woman is trying to use social media and other people, other men to grow her OF, I feel like I would be more accepting of that if the men she were doing OF with were her age. Using the General who is like 40, I think he's 39, to grow your OF means it doesn't matter whether you think you're in control, you're inherently not in control because he is a much older man than you. I genuinely used to think that the General was somebody who is just kind of harmless and like it's like an act almost, but I have inside sources, and I can't go into this because it's inside sources, but I know that he is like this. He is exactly like how he presents himself to be online, and that is why I feel scared, because I see him and I'm like, no, you are kind of weird. Like, this is kind of strange. Using the fact that women want to grow their OF to then collab with them, regardless whether she went out of her way to do it with you first, is kind of strange.
I'm here with my wifey, the most pennilicious, scrumptious, actilicious
ting, bruv. She's going to be wiped up real quick. Trust on that.
Guess what I don't understand as well with these OF meetups when you're trying to promote your OF so you guys are hanging out. Wouldn't it make sense to just meet for one day, post content together to make it look like you guys are working together and then dip? Like, why is she staying with him? Why do I keep... Like, they were on live earlier together. I actually joined their live and I typed in being like, I'm going to do a video on you, General. Do you have any final words? Because he follows me on Instagram, you see. He's like a silent viewer of all my stuff. He never talks to me. He's never said anything to me. He just follows me after I did a video on him. And he didn't reply, safe to say. I'm pretty sure he saw the message. He didn't fucking reply to me, so that was mean. Like, if it was me and I was trying to promote my OF, I would just simply meet up, do a few TikToks, and then leave. Like, they're sharing a hotel together. They're hanging out together. They're doing everything together to the point where it genuinely does look like they're a couple. And I'm pretty sure that the General does have autism as well. So I feel like on Grace's part, hanging around with him and like leading him into a state of you guys actually look like you're in a relationship is probably not the best idea. I'm not gonna lie. But even then, like, I'm not gonna say they're both as bad as each other because like I said, I believe that the General is in a position where he should just be being like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna go near like girls like half my age, literally. But also I do think it's just not really a good idea from her to be doing that as well. But
My citrus delicious main ting and me are going to be in Aberdeen at Underground Club on the 24th. Trust on me, reported. The python is always dangerous and lethal.
Grace, be f***ing for real. This cannot be worth it. You look like you hate your existence, and I don't care whether you're making 20 times as much money as me. This cannot be worth it. And I personally believe you're going to look back on this and really, really, really regret it. Like, if you're going to do OF, but don't collab with these, like, actual parasites. I know too much about the General. That's the problem. I know too much about him. And she doesn't even look like she wants to be there. Like, she looks like she's held hostage. Like, this can't be, like, what is the aim here? And the worst thing is it's actually fueling the General's career, because every time he gets a new random OF model on that everyone's like, what the hell is this? He just grows in fame. He gets more and more likes. Mark my words, guys, it's never going to end well. Other than him and Grace collabing, which I think alone is a disaster waiting to happen considering Grace's history with Paul Breach. Like, I feel like what really is something that maybe people are going to be annoyed at me for saying, but like I have to say it because I genuinely believe it. Like, if I was Grace, I feel like after my experiences with Paul Breach, like I just would not be doing this. And that isn't, before anyone takes that as me victim blaming, in no way, shape or form am I doing that, because I still believe that both of the men, both Paul and General, are in the same category of weirdness and should have more just like morals to just not do this and just not to be collabing with women that are way too young, because it just does not look good. Like, I'm not going to explain my age gap issue I have with stuff like this. I'm not going to explain that because you guys already know. But it's just, I wouldn't do it purely because of how it's going to look. And it does not look too great, I'm not going to lie. Because this was the exact same pattern that happened with Paul. And again, I'm not blaming her. There's just a point where it's gonna probably not end too well, and I really just don't want that to happen. And a lot of people will sit back and they'll be like, hey, it's not that deep, like it's just TikToks, they're just like collabing. But like, it's not that deep right now maybe to a lot of people, but this type of weird content shouldn't be normalized, I personally believe. And it's not just Grace, let's just not get that twisted. It isn't just Grace, as you're about to see. It is many other OF creators, some of which I just cannot stand. And I thought we'd look at how they make me feel slightly ill today.
General, I need you to rate my body out of 10. What do you think?
Yeah, twerk that bunda, babe. I'll give that a pennilicious penalty out of the trustable python.
You see, I can't really take him seriously after he said,
Oh, it depends what my python wants. I can't control the python.
So now every time I hear him say the word python, I think, yeah, the same python that wants people who have not yet hit puberty. Nice.
Look who I've got round mine.
Yeah, I'm back with my penalty names. You better trust on the activeness of this Leng figure right now. This is prestige. Ultimate prestige.
You ready to film some content? Not
Yeah.
not for Instagram or TikTok.
Exactly, babe. The leopard versus the python, the battle of nature, bro. Come on now. Trust on that. Are you excited? You've missed me, ain't you?
I'm very excited. I have my
Yeah. We're gonna consummate our marriage.
Genuinely, Lily, blink twice if you need help. You cannot tell me that that is the face of someone who doesn't feel deeply, deeply uncomfortable. And I don't even blame you because you've got the General's python rubbing up against you. And I don't think that's anything anybody would genuinely want at all.
This sweet tasting thing right here has just been promoted to my mains. Have a feel of my hair. How silky is that, babe? Do you love it?
Silky, I love it.
Yeah. Absolutely prestige on that. And you've got to kiss the python. There you go. Straight up.
Yeah, he gives off really, really not great vibes, I'm not going to lie. This can't be worth any amount of money. It really can't. It can't be worth any money. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wasting my time making these YouTube videos and I just need to start an OF and collab with the General. Maybe that's all I needed in life.
Python is going to be nourished tonight. Prepare for the lethal venom.
What the fuck is going on? What is actually going on there? I'm genuinely flabbergasted. Like, I can't even hate because how is he getting so many girls to do this? Yes, Katie, I know the obvious answer is OF promotion. Like, wow, yeah, cool. But like I said, I don't think you would catch anybody who's slightly, like, mentally not ill doing this. Like, if you have, like, genuine mental sanity, you're not doing this. Like, not to be cruel, but if you're having to promote your OF with the General, I'm going to assume that, like, your OF is not worth buying. It's like if a clothing shop is having, like, a 70% off sale. Like, I'm going to assume that everything in there is tragic.
They're taking over the net with the fabled Lengers Astrid. What do you think of the General, babe?
It was so fun and it was really nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming down and just showing me your massive python.
Yeah. You haven't kissed it yet?
I haven't kissed it yet. I did stroke it a little bit.
Yeah. Do you want to kiss it now?
Mwah.
There you go. Straight up dubs all day, every day.
I mean, to be honest, I don't like either of them, quite frankly. But there's an ongoing theme in General's videos where he's constantly asking women to do stuff to him. And I don't know whether it's part of the bit. It could just be a scripted thing. But knowing him and knowing what he's like in every piece of content, I really don't think it is scripted. I think he's genuinely like that. And I genuinely think he's slightly predatory. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, he's still only collaborating with really young women and he's making the most of the fact that young women will do that because it helps them out. I would say that's quite exploitative. A lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I'm just going to say maybe let's see your hard drive, let's see your search history.
We need a man.
He's so late. He should have been here by now.
Literally half an hour ago.
Are you ready to get pythonized? The python is angry. It's coming. The venom is really coming.
That's not okay. That's not all right. That's just too far. That's just too, yeah, I'm done. I'm actually done. I genuinely don't need to see this for any longer, really. So there you are, guys. The General only does collaborations with OF women that are half his age, and I don't really know how to feel or what to think. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to try and cleanse my soul.